the way for them. But here we go. Grand Finals on its way, ladies and gentlemen. A rematch of and against Talon.
Talon on to the orange side selection. Issen with purple selection as priority, and so far we're seeing Talon huge respects onto the Sable Eye pocket. And Aumento and Zerora also would have removed into the.
They don't want that trump card to happen or to appear at the side of Issen and Aumento. That's why they decided to ban it. You know, if they don't have enough cards in order to counter that kind of strategy from Aumento, might as well take it away on their card, right? So that has been the response for Talon. Really had to commend for respecting MXI in using that Sable Eye.
But so far, we're going to have a priority pick to Hoopa, just moving it to Kai. And this is the why Issen and Aumento, you know what? We're not going to ban away the Hoopa because we're going to pick it up. We know that Kai is one of the Hoopa in Asia cannot go as far. You have Town East with that huge adjustments going to pick up Psyduck in 2Y.
And here's the thing, right? Deciding to not ban that Psyduck is actually huge as well. Yes, you do have Hoopa, but it's going to be a Psyduck as well, who is actually a great counter for the likes of a Hoopa. You set up those hyperspace. Once you get pulled down by that Psychic coming from a side, then definitely that hyperspace will be denied immediately.
Draft is pretty much mind games here. You know what? We're gonna leave the side open, leave the hoop open because we're doing a double block. We know that you're gonna pick it up. We know a counter for it. And thus far, Talon versus playing that mind games phenomenal. But thus far, we're throughout Umbreon and Gyarados, Meowscarada, and the Buzzwole for Talon Esports.
Yeah, Buzzwole loving so far, knowing that Buzzwole can pull off a huge impact. It seems like it was functioning as a Mimikyu, but at the same time, it buys much more time compared to a play with me. So I do understand what Land wants this Buzzwole. We gonna see a defender Phalanx. This is what we saw beyond use during the PUACL final.
I love this. The adjustments coming from Talon. This is why experience matters. This is why tournament does matter here. And this time around, Talon Esports is using and utilizing knowledge over the tournaments here today for the Philippines. Thus far, Issen Aumento is not something you can belittle as they have quite a balance there. Bring on into the lines to set up plays into Leon and Leafeon for that and Hoopa. Eventually, that can go for those resets in this type of comp. So Aumento really looking strong.
Yeah, both of the teams are looking strong. Actually, it's not just so, but at the same time, it's Talon as well. But I gotta love the draft as well from the Gyarados here at the side of Aumento, knowing that this could actually dominate the mid stages of the game after evolving into a Gyarados with the proper execution. Their Leafy is actually sent, doing some ambushes earlier for that Gyarados to be up and online as early as possible. It will be a different game plan for being able to dominate that top lane as much possible is already a huge thing. Here's the thing happen knowing Lance is such a top laner as well for the
Lance has been such a great job, despite being alone into the top side of the map consistently time and he's able to defend that top side alone in the carry zone and consistently helping his teammates to survive quite a bit in terms of that impact. Just having that format patience time again for the rest of Talon. Once again, this is the grand finals. Game number 1. It's Issen up against Talon Esports on to the orange.
Yeah. Do apologize for that graphic error, but that is going to be Talon's in red. But it is of the day itself. So definitely a slow start here for Talon. Aumento is somehow leading the charge. Knowing Lance is alone all the way to the top path, maximizing that XP, and look at that, dealing with great steal on that weapon. Come on.
Yeah, just trying to. I mean, this is you down in the game as much as possible. You want to deny a lot of these wild Pokemon. AO's energy points, along with those XPs, very important overall. And that is what Dylan is doing. For what he has done in the upper bracket, Dylan is just sneaky.
You gotta love what he's trying to do so far, but 850 has commenced already, so waiting for the 8-minute mark of this game. Both teams are playing very safely. They want to make get those XPs up and going, and at the same time fight for the most important Pokemon. Just an opportunity. If there's a sure KO that will into your team, because you don't want those risks to boil down as well. Because if you took the risk, you lost it, then definitely it would leave a huge impact on your team.
Yeah, production right. 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's pretty much what's going on here. If you're losing an objective, if you're losing those balls, Pokemon, you're losing something else as well. But Dylan, overextension, that will be a punishment for Issen.
Yeah, big punishment indeed. But here comes Lance with a rotation. This is what wanted to happen.
Yeah, for the side of Talon Esports, you know what? Overextension, for an overextension, a 1-for-1 KO. That's a bit too far there, but we'll be able to come back to safety.
Safety rotation coming up once again from Talon. How is already all the way into the top lane. He wants to make sure that he gets the wild Pokemon of Talon in order to get that XP department up and rolling.
Yeah, the Pokemon to the bottom pad contested. Esports will be able to get huge of that. Gyarados. V jumping back and forth here, get pincer. That pin down is Talon Esports who will get that KO.
Nice K indeed for their team, but rotations are coming up in second. Trying to apply a lot of pressure against Talon. They want to make sure they're going to be ones to push them back, but he'll halfway HP. Talon looking for potential steal.
That's the Talon Esports. Reggie Theo will be taken away by Talon Esports' side. First objective comes through. Currently a trade for now, but Talon Esports for more meat. Bit overextended, and it will be Talon Esports 2 pushes.
Oh, Azur's giving a lot of critical damage as well to get rid of Vision.
Yeah, but he's so low already. Dealing for the chase, though. But that would be unfortunate time, as you have Inteleon, who will be able to get that bit for extra. Now you have side low Wix. Will be able to get roots in. Extra sustains. Into the front line. Gets a bit of the points remaining for the goals on the bottom pack.
Looking great as well. The Aumento, but Lance tries to challenge it, but will fail immediately up until the point. So Reggie will march down to the top, and those will definitely land at the hands of Aumento.
A tad bit too late. Issen Aumento. Lucky will be successful. That tier 1 goes on that face as well, going through as well for that extra support. 25 points coming from the side of Talon Esports, and you have so much right through as they stack up those damage. 4 KOs immediately. Hyperspace Mental, it became such a big disadvantage.
And that Dust Devil formation from the Phalanx actually made a huge impact at the side of Talon, making sure they're going to deploy some damages at the side of Aumento.
Lance overextended will be the target. You have the Buzzwell, who's
wow!
Combat and on will be able to shot his way down to a KO, and once more add to that injury as they get 2 KOs out of that.
Lewis is so strong at 8 snipe shots KO, but it's not.
Talon Esports finds their way to return and get objectives as well for themselves. Now you have Mewtwo with that Unite move, getting that KO on Inteleon. No escape possibility. Now you have Ryu going for defense. Tier 1 goes on top pat, but he's getting up against 4 players from Talon Esports. They will get a point of their own. Talon Esports as they secure the tier 1 goes on top side.
Great decision by Neva, going away for free, knowing that the side lanes in DD will spot already. So it's been their shift, get those wild Pokemon on lanes and catch up in XP department. But right now, Regirock has spawned on bottom path, and that
teams are now finding their footing, get their respective position order already. This is so crucial to get an advantage down the road. Now, Talon Esports, yes, they have a bit of an advantage, but it's very close. So that notification not benefit for them as well. Know that these two teams are closely intact to battle as well. Ruben, for the face check onto the glass, we'll be having there. Oh, you have Lance with isolation target. It will be for them to go all in as it comes potentially as Umbreon will fall on, get the Talon. Now we'll get the number advantage, but Issen still buying time before Umbreon comes back up so they can fight the 5v5.
They KO Hoopa, who has the rings and bound. That must be the prioritization. Dragon's Current will be deployed.
You know, on the Mewtwo wide, that will be a huge KO for the side of Aumento. Is down already for the likes.
Oh, wow!
So they need to buy time instead. But yeah, trying to back, but it's on along some of the Leafeon that they bring down. This will be an even level playing field. This round was able to get a 2K streak. Is now going in for the chase up against a Umbreon go down. It's Gyarados who's trying to play. This will just be a buy of time. 35 seconds remaining, but Issen momentum advantage. It will be Talon for to have to do something that has to do a miracle play. At stage, break raise will be very important. You cannot lose time here, Talon Esports.
20 seconds
remaining for the rake.
Burst!
Oh
wow!
Aumento, who steals it from Talon's palm, and will be Issen to secure game number 1 for themselves.
Huge steal for Aumento to prevent the comeback, because they know that Talon still has enough time in order to flip things around. But I love the idea they were able to make back cap. Back cap is they bought a lot of time during that fight all the way to the area. Yes, it was a good fight for Talon, but they weren't watching who's actually for the back at the hands of Aumento.
Yeah, and that is why we mentioned a while ago when we created pivotal for a lot of these teams have a good positioning, and that includes having an easy access onto your tier 2 goal zones with expectations that there are no more goal zones in the that is as they focus more on that 5v5 fight, and Issen Aumento just focused on getting a bit more dunks, getting a bit more points, because as we mentioned, difference break rate was only 7 points.
Man, that's huge. You know, it was a great execution Talon as well to bring all their Unite all the way from a chance for them to flip things around. The timing is so perfectly in sync for Aumento. Stronger team in game number 2. We are on our way on it, and Issen Aumento staying at the purple side. Talon and decided to just go the second pick. They don't want that prioritization of composure. They prioritize more about their at this point.
Since fell down in game number 1, they opted to retain their orange sides, and thus far we're quite a similar series of advantages here from game number 1. You have the Zero Aura Blissey removed for the side of Issen and Aumento, and for the left of Talon, it's stabilized alongside potentially the Talon Flame.
Yeah, Talon Flame is very, very much understandable, knowing the Talon Flame has a lot of threat given. You know, the fly could actually go for a steal and at the same time get away from those fights. Brave Bird as well is a factor, especially when you do have a group of set the truth. It's really to counter that now.
For sure. Now, Hoopa will be the first locked in and will be priority by Issen and Aumento as expected. If they do not want to give it to Kai as far. Answering back with a similar pick that they did in game 1. Duck in 2-1.
If it's not broken, you don't have. I think that's the call for both of these. But I think they're trying to change things down, their composition, but their same composition might work again. And I feel like they're going to be eyeing on it. So that's 3 out of 5. So we'll see if it will be the same kind of draft. For Talon, I feel like Phalanx might change. At the same time, it is still a possibility.
There's a lot of options here, but this time around, as you mentioned, don't fix what's not broken. It does far. Their composition, it was not the problem in game number 1. It definitely worked out for them, and these two are comfortable with what they had in game number 1. So it's all about that execution, what you do with your comp, and what your winning condition is going to be. And thus far, Issen and Aumento is going to run it back.
Yes, same draft for Aumento and almost a same draft for Talon. But potentially, it will be, if they lock this one, be a same draft. It's like what I've said. Don't fix what's not broken. And definitely, nothing is broken. Both sides, so they want to make sure that they use this composition. But here, it's going to be the execution. It's going to be the teamwork that's about to boil down into this game. Better teamwork, better communication, and better execution. Lee will take the game for this one.
Yeah, something to look forward to is the last 2 minutes. I think that definitely is the a bit of the game changer overall into these matchups. Team fights potentially really just tied into a favor of one team or the other. Now the thing about here is that these two teams have to really keep an eye to their own goal zone, keep track of the points of their opponents as well, and really dictate the steps moving forward. Those conditions in mind.
Yeah, they have to take every single condition here. Not that. So definitely, Talon needs a step forward in this match. They need to be much more advanced in their thinking, knowing that Aumento can actually read them already. They won game. It was a flip, actually. It was a 50-50. But still, it was Aumento who had a great execution, knowing that they had a potential to take the game up against Talon. This one is going to be 50-50 once again. Pressure lies down to Talon. Will they be able to go at the corners and be forced to do the reset, or Aumento game is a fluke for their team. This is what we are trying to figure out at this point.
Boils down these teams are going to do in game number 2 in the matchup that we have on our hands at the moment. It does once again here in the matchup building on the 4, especially for the side of Issen and Aumento. So they want those evolutions to be able to reach the Leafeon and the Umbreon as well to gain that game advantage. All these are huge power to the earth. That is what Issen and Aumento want.
That is what they want. They were eyeing on, but quiet rotation here, just like in game number 1. Same rotations being applied here, really different from the usual ones, right? We're seeing 3-man all the bottom path so early, not yet even 80. One is actually rotating the way to the path. They want to make sure that this levels up as quick as it can.
There's a bit different. The Pokemon coming from Issen and Aumento coming in the bottom path instead of path, but if they have to, but as well they go into attack. In a bit of a deficit here, getting out, it will be Issen and Aumento bring them down. Be the first game.
KO. See what might happen next. This is full pressure for Issen. They want to take down up until this point.
Face hold for reset. Brings back to the base, goes back to the fight. Top path will be the target here as Gabriel onto the forefront, and Issen and Aumento once again will get
one more KO. Applying more pressure in the is in a big deficit at the first 2 minutes of this game, but not too late in order for them to catch up. But Issen and Aumento keeps pushing forward.
For the tier 1 zone down, Aumento putting a lot of pressure into the bottom pad here. Going for a bit of a defense, because as of yet, there's no point for Talon Esports.
Yeah, no point. It's scoreless. You have to pull AO's energy. You must go for the kill there, advancing even further all the way to the top path. And still doing a great job.
Knockouts coming from Lance as well. And that will be an attack with Leafeon and Entity on the back once again. Pokemon Center. Objectives are coming up pretty soon. 15-second main will be once again contest from both sides on what objectives are going to take. A couple of in for Issen and Aumento.
Talon eyeing on bottom path as far as I know. Look at their rotation. They're all marching all the way down. For Issen and Aumento, they want to make sure that they get both because of that hoop. But right now, a KO would land on their favorite Regieleki marching already. But this is huge. This is huge for Issen and Aumento. They're marching all the way to the bottom path already.
Because the thing is, tier 1 Gold Zone is already out into the top path. So huge amount of deficit. Now you have Lance going for that isolation onto Garrett, but too well. Unite move coming down into the back. Will be Mewtwo who falls down, going for that chase with the response. It will be into who deals a huge chunk of damage. Lance will answer though with a kick off the
Yeah, so strong with those critical hits with spike vision, giving some vision as well, and at the same time, snipers are just landing everywhere. Talon and making it difficult for Talon to find their position in order to counter the engage that Issen Aumento has to do it and over again.
Coming from the United move of Talon Esports, the fantastic utilization coming in from the likes of Kai in that objective takedown, and Issen Aumento pretty much taking for the lead.
Yeah, take for the lead, take for the free objective. Aumento takes the Regirock additional defense for their team, but on the other hand, Talon is looking for more space, looking for more opportunities to score more points, and at the same time catch up. Department of haven't been getting that much objectives for themselves. It's just the wild Pokemon that they make use of as a source of experience.
Yeah. Playing a bit defensive, playing a bit passive. Very aggressive at the stage, and I do understand what they're doing. Fundamental, currently, they have a level advantage across the board. Gyarados is already at level 12 here, so Talon is in a bit of a pickle. They have to adjust. They need those keys in wild Pokemon to be able to match the level and experience of each Aumento.
A little bit too quiet right now for Aumento. They don't have wild Pokemon. They're not overextending. They're not forcing the knowing that 3 minutes and 30 seconds is so critical that if you lost a team fight, your opponent could actually bounce back at the level to fight. Not just that, they can get their night moves as well, and at the same time get the positional advantage.
Rotation coming from Talon for a chunk of damage here onto Meowscarada, which is now Hyperspace Soul pull one down into the bottom patch. Defense, Talon will be pushed back.
Not dealing, you need that Unite move to be back and online. What is he has to get that once again. Devil formation didn't work. They wanted it to, so definitely they have to reassess the situation. What is the weak Issen Aumento for Talon to do a wipe?
Regieleki, part of Talon Esports. They want to put pressure onto their two into the top pad. The thing is, they do not want to contest that Regi bottom, as it is quite risky battle up against Issen Aumento with seconds remaining for the crazy that comes. All that they could do is pressure that comes into the top pad to be able to ease a bit of that pinpoint up against Aumento.
Dylan hasn't have his Unite. So it's up in line, so it's looking good for Talon. Let's see what would be their decision. Rotations might come up here for Aumento. They are too many formations that Talon has to offer.
Good defense coming from Issen Aumento. Not taking and not taking the bait of Talon.
Rubix.
How they
Rubix is just trying to check the tall grasses, looking for the information. They have infinite side, everyone down, but that Talon is too dangerous. They one who can down a single one. It's Meow's Karada who can, but here comes the entry coming in. Deal
not for long though. They're not going for the all commitment. Thus far, it will be Talon Esports is on a time. It's Issen Aumento that just have to play goalkeeper Ray Queza, not letting Talon Esports touch. Huge advantage up against Talon, starting goes in for that space track onto that tall grass. Thus far, nothing going on as of yet.
1 minute is all that's left. Talon needs to step up. They need to bait Aumento by taking Rayquaza. But what is the follow-up for their team? Too scared to engage. Just think one is just roaming around in circles.
Now they're starting the Rayquaza half HP already. The all in is a signal to go for Talon. Force Rayquaza will be the target.
Oh, they got it!
Will secure the objective. They will the buff as they run across those goal zones. Issen Aumento wanted to go for their own points as well. Try to the playing field. Thus far, Talon is running towards the base, running towards the opposition. 500 for Esports side. They still have that advantage, and they might just round have the possibility of just playing defense here, and Talon Esports will succeed.
Viva needs tons of points, but there's not enough time for them to score up against Talon. Talon returns the favor up against Aumento. 1-1. We have the Sliders match for Talon.
Yeah, amazing stuff coming in from Talon Sports. Down with that Rayquaza fight. And this is what we mentioned last. It was Talon who was on a timer. They are at a massive advantage. It's Issen Aumento who had 150 plus point lead at that stage of the game. When the notification came up, they know that Issen Aumento had that huge against them. That is when Talon Esports started and go objective and committed.
Yeah, that's actually really long. 1 minute is like the first minute of the final stretch. Talon was trying to think, what can we do in this kind of situation? How can we get out Issen Aumento up until this point? Because it is so stacked, no information, and you don't want to invest that you
capitalize on the Rayquaza buff and gets the lead back.
The execution is what teams need. But for game number 3, for sure, there has been a shaking decision for Issen Aumento. Are they or are they sticking with it? And for sure, they can actually just stick with it. It worked. It worked. And they won game number 1. So it's just timing, execution, and being careful on what's about to happen, because they can control the rhythm of the game. Issen Aumento, that's for sure.
Yeah. Although if it's something that Issen Aumento could replicate once again in game 1, in game 2, we're just going to expect it, right? It's an expectation coming from Issen and it definitely works coming from game 1 and game 2. But if there's a change, it will be this game because it will be the final matchup to at least turn and bring this to a reset. The grand finals. This will be a match point for both sides.
Yeah, match point indeed. Talon for Worlds and Issen for a reset. So far, our teams are eyeing on the same competition so far. Talon with Psyduck and of course the Mewtwo Y, their signature. But here comes Aumento as well, trying to assess what can we change, what could put pressure up against Talon, and they do get the Meowscarada taken immediately in Talon.
Yeah, and as we discussed, right, 2024 things to change this time. We're currently, but esports quick on their feet, thinking on their for that adjustment with a Clefable alongside without Psyduck with a double supporter session, and that absolute potential pickup as well to really stand a chance in the early game and not give any breathing room for Issen or Aumento.
This is actually huge. Absol, who's going to be dealing a lot of damage, is one of the things that you would want to have, knowing that your opponent, and this Absol would actually set up the take down Shuya and send as fast as they can. Well, it's not the battle. Powerful backline at the hands of Aumento, which will make lap team fight.
Yeah. Looking at this Talon esports going in for a composition that's a bit different from what we were accustomed to over the past few tournaments. Series. We're going to have a side alongside the Clefable, and then you have by Phalanx. There's no more Buzzwole in the hands of fans this time around.
The lack more fire crowd control here at the hands of Talon. Power, raw damage, definitely Talon is still on the playbook. So it will boil down at the hands of crowd control. Is one enough to do that kind of damage, that kind of attack, controlling the fight? Or is this what will be the lacking key part for Talon?
It's a question. The thing is answered after the conclusion of number 3 with the adjustments rather work for the side of Issen or the Talon esports. How adaptive Talon esports can be as well. What Meowscarada is being taken away from the opposition will adjust. We have the Absol readily waiting for us as well in terms of the composition. We're gonna fit in as to have that same, to have that combo, and to have that composition locked in for us here for Game 3.
Let's see. All teams, both of the teams are locked in their match reset or a world championship representative. That's the story of game number 3 of this grand finals series. Aumento eyeing on the reset. Talon eyeing the Anaheim ticket. August. Starting things off, Talon lands confident in bringing out some damage.
Yeah, because these teams really want to represent the region over in World Championship, and that will be the line for this game and for the series grand final match point for both sides. So it's all about getting that for the EVs for Issen and Aumento are well ready. Single EV for Issen and Aumento for that. I'm bringing on to really deal quite a bit up against their opponents. As far we have to look at the likes of do something in the side of Talon, especially in the early game. That is where Absol will shine.
Let's see if the Absol will shine. Can Lance shine through this game for their team? Look at the engage from Talon coming right up. Very aggressive K for their team.
Nice player there as Fountain initiates that battle. Absolutely as well. It would be quite in the as we have discussed. Absol's power really shines the most in the early game. It's all about stacking that point advantage. It's all about stacking that power in that early stage, early couple of minutes here for the side of town.
Yeah, really have to respect that Absol as well. But rotation might come up once again here for so, but not going to be enough for them to go team fight and the KO that they have been eyeing on. So rotate will be back at bottom. Definitely looking for KO as to that Paradox up and on time pressure Talon at this point.
Though, bottom pat goes on. You have Gyarados putting up a huge amount of pressure, Falling up, putting down a fight as well with that support in pat. Alongside the two of the teammates as well. The likes of Talon, a formation will be able to get that KO onto Gyarados.
Oh, not looking here. Rotation up once again for Issen and Aumento all the way to the top path. They want to make sure to apply pressure on who's the lacking fire power on terms of but scoring tons of goal in bottom.
Yeah, 18 points remaining before the tier 1 goes. But the thing is, Issen answers back as well on the opposite side of the map. 73 points along. It's actually true for Issen. So it's all about fighting trades in the value time and time again. A significant part of the match game.
They want to make sure movements will be something, so definitely have to be very careful. Right now, Talon is the one leading the charge here. Look at the contest coming from Aumento.
Rock. An objective. Talon Esports, the very first one, at the very back for East as well, would feel like being secured to the top side. So handshake for both sides for now here in the first.
Handshake is the best option for them to go through, knowing that it's very difficult for you to set up the pace here, especially in a critical moment where you just have to go all in and make sure that discipline, because there are no second chances for Aumento, but for Talon, they don't want that reset to happen. That's why every actions are being up until this point, but Talon on the other hand wants to up top path.
Forefront have Garrett are back. They want to go commit for an all in here. Now you have commitment coming through the side of Talon with the Unite move being casted away by Garrett. But 3 already down for Issen and Aumento, and Talon is far pushing them back away. Damage coming through, and you have Umbreon trying to buy time, pushing and re-knocking them back. Have Issen and Aumento just trying to make a huge response into the top, but the thing is dominance here in the early suffice. That damage from Absol is phenomenal and spectacular. And Talon Esports will get that tier 1 goals down, and Talon gains the advantage.
I love the coordination from Talon, doing the math things all the way in top path, and making sure that they get the upper hand by stepping on those goal zones and as much as possible score at a much better face. Right now, 2 Regis will spawn on both sides of the map, and for sure Talon wants to get them done. For sure they want both of them. Right now it's Issen Aumento controlling the Regieleki for, and there's a vision as well bottom path for them.
They started with Aumento. Yeah, Absol sitting on the sideline as well.
Power trick
contest, but Aumento takes down its Regieleki for themselves, as it Issen Aumento who takes that objective. Esports will lose the Clefable in the process.
Lose Clefable indeed, has to go back into the Pokemon Center, but nice kick coming in from Rubix in order to delay the rotation of Issen Aumento. And right now Lance has the defense down on the Regieleki that's marching on top path.
Talon. The
Now
to have me coming through. Dangerous position. Has to force the Unite move defensively. Now looking at the back, who will be able to get that KO onto Inteleon, and also follow through succession as well. What raw power is he showing here from Talon, and will be 3 KOs overall, and Talon once again successfully defends their tier 2.
Actually, not just Land doing the job, doing as well with the follow. There's damage to come into him, and you know his members need damage at the side of Aumento. So that kind of attention that Kai actually team is in order for to prioritization, in order for his teammates to get more space, do damage, do their executions.
Yeah, for sure. In a lot of defensive capability comes with that extra as well, but Regis will be secured by Talon East side. That will give them that extra strength in terms of those team fights. Not something that Issen Aumento to come through and force a 5v with Talon having that buff.
For 13 seconds rather. Regieleki on top. They want to make sure they get the most of the objective and apply more pressure into Issen Aumento, because that Regieleki will be huge if they manage to land it all the way on top, because that could be a double or a ×2 points later on that they can use in the final stretch.
Look at the Issen Aumento patting themselves onto the tier 1 in the bottom pad as well. This will be a bit dangerous for the side of the esports as they have to defend. But at it, Eastern Aumento left no one to defend on top of the map, so they are forced to read that. Gialecki dunking on the tier and themselves more towards that central.
That's just 20 points, so that's why Cinemento doesn't really mind, and they have calculated that that's not gonna reach all the way in stretch because they know the position. Talon, but right now Talon is controlling the formations, or the positions in Rayquaza.
Good positioning coming from Talon East. Who is on a timer, they will be to fight this. But goes down initially for V5 situation in favor of Talon Esports is on the sidelines. Eastern Aumento just has to buy time before Hoopa comes back up. They can go in that 5-5 situation. However, Rayquaza down low already in a 5 HP.
Wow!
And Talon Esports secured Rayquaza for themselves and secured advantage in game 3. And thus far, only has Koopa left to defend, and I don't think will be sufficient.
Talon dunking down 120 points all the way to bottom path, and there is just no sign of Issen Aumento as Talon will be our back-to-back champions for World Championships Philippine qualifier.
Amazing coordination coming in from Talon Esports to had that advantage initially. They're really just able to pin and pick up one by one their opponents. With that, they get Rayquaza and let nothing loose for themselves. Game number 3, grand finals in their favor will be Philippine champions here for World Championship Series 2025.
And once again, booking their tickets to World Championships and be the representative of Philippine region. This is just so huge. This team has been proving a lot. They did a great run last World Championships where they were hailed as top 8, and they want to do a back out and be stronger. But Issen Aumento did not disappoint every fans as well. They pulled off a great game up despite being reverse swept, but for sure this team has huge potential to grow stronger in the upcoming seasons.
Yeah, Issen right now showing a huge amount of promise from Issen Aumento, from Issen right of that through from the Issen name and this far